What are you trying to say?
Is that a different shirt?
It's been on the show, but I've worn it before.
I've got a range of colours.
It is my most recent one.
Yeah. It's very colourful.
It's a new purchase.
Yeah.
It's a Christmas purchase.
Ah.
Gazman vouchers, from the Outlaws. And went straight online. Bought. Done deal. That's how we roll.
I like getting clothes as gifts.
Not really, no.
When you're a kid, you don't. You want something.
No, I don't like getting clothes from anyone.
Why?
No, because I like to buy
Does your wife not buy your clothes?
No.
My wife buys nearly all my clothes.
You are that kind of
She's
guy.
got very good taste. Yeah. She married me.
You're very Rocky Balboa in that sense.
Yo, Adrian. Yo, Joe.
Rocky 2 this week on the best movies you've never seen.
Good segue. Great segue.
Here for you, baby.
Let's go. Always be promoting.
ABP.
Yeah.
Always be promoting.
Always be promoting.
It's not just ABC.
We're always contenting, but we're promoting them as well.
Yeah.
Great show. Massive show this week. Rocky 2. Love it.
Huge.
Yeah.
When we get to it, that's obviously on Friday.
Yeah.
On the
you got this to listen to, and then the private feed before it comes into this feed. But
Correct,
if you want to get it early, the movie has its own feed. Best movies you've never seen. Friday.
Yeah. Also, you can get the private feed early by watching it on YouTube.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of YouTube, shout out to everyone who went to the trouble of finding for the first time the video show.
We had a few more views this week, eh?
Yeah, I mean,
people will have thought, how long has this been going on?
It's still remarkable to me.
Yeah.
We probably didn't promote this well enough to get people because we've just realised we're giving away a $4,000 first prize.
Hello. Orbi 990.
970.
970.
3-pack.
Wi-Fi 7.
So there were great comments. Shout out to everyone who gave it a crack. Okay, there were some crackers. My favourite, which Stephen's absolutely banished from the competition. I'm sorry, Dan, but I loved it. Dan said, "Is that Trevor from the Today Show? Who's the old bloke on the left?"
Oh, yeah.
Bravo.
See you, mate.
That for me was a winner.
Flattery will get you everywhere.
Yeah.
Okay. Remember
so
that.
that's deleted.
Sorry, Dan. Sorry. I feel like a real. You make me feel like an asshole now.
Well, you are. No, nothing on that sense. But I also, for clarity, and just I'll be honest.
We did have hundreds of messages.
We spent 3 minutes preparing the actual show.
Yeah.
And then we spent 25 minutes reading all the comments.
But I'd been keeping an eye on them during the week.
No, same.
As had you. We just we had to agree on them.
Look, I'm not going to lie. I think it's important to let people know why some were disqualified. Anyone who asked for a prize, you're out.
Yeah, is that how you run your ship? Is that how you run your ship, is it, mate?
And
you can't be begging for
that
it.
goes back to continuous call team days. If you came on the radio back in the day and you were just a rabid, like let's say a 13-year-old rings the radio, big Rabbitohs fan, be like, mate, send him a jersey, classic sportswear, boom, right? But if that same kid was as cute as hell and said, "Can I get a jersey?"
Yeah.
No.
See you, mate. Yeah.
That's it. Those are the rules.
That's how we roll.
So
if you ask for it,
we said, "Show us that you know us."
Yes.
That was essentially the only qualifying statement. So third place. And you win an M6 Pro from Netgear, which is a mobile hotspot. Yeah. Put a little SIM card in it.
What's that worth? $700, $799.
Let's not put values on things.
Yeah,
but it's a great prize.
Fantastic.
It's a great
prize
product
that we both use too.
Now the point here is, as we said last week, we don't know who you are. There's no email.
Yeah, there's a username. Yeah.
So you're going to need to get in touch. So I think probably the easiest way is to take a screenshot of your account with your username visible.
Yep. Showing
clearly that it's your account. And send us a text 0477 657 657. Send me the screenshot.
Yes.
And that'll validate it. So the first account is Love to Spin Vinyl. You win an M6 Pro. Obviously,
he
DJ.
Can explain if DJing's real or not.
Oh, might be upset by my previous comments. The comment here is, happy anniversary to Stephen Fennick with a PH of Telegraph headline fame. Get that India. And to the second greatest thing out of Humpybong State School. But better known for his customer service skills at the Ed Long Markets Bakery, Trevor Long. You're both doing very well.
Yeah, that's pretty solid. That's going way back.
And I don't talk about the Ed Long Markets
Stephen with a PH used to say that early
days,
early on.
When we were talking about, hit us up on Twitter. Trevor Long or Stephen Fennick with a PH.
That's right.
I'm just trying to make sure people can find you, man.
Yeah, exactly, mate.
Second prize is the Nighthawk RS600. So this is a great new Wi-Fi
7 as well
for your home. Yep. Great if you're into gaming or anything that needs quality of service. You can really do some tweaks on the Nighthawk. So this is Rob Rosier, 9797. So 0477 657 657. Send us a text. We will, with a screenshot proof that that's your account.
Yep.
The comment is, I have no idea how these guys can produce one of the best value podcasts on the net and still be doing so very well. I admit I've only been listening for 12 years.
Only.
But it's remarkable how little Stephen has aged.
Oh, thank you.
While the truth-telling experiences of Trev on Twitter and X seem to have aged him terribly, and he can't hardly notice his tooth. One of the best suite of podcasts you can hope to listen to by two of the most engaging blokes in tech. Congrats on 14 years. I'm looking forward to episode 1000.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Bravo, Rob.
Good one, Rob.
Nighthawk
Congrats.
RS600 coming your way.
Baby.
First prize. Remember last week I went, it's an Orbi. I don't know which one.
Yeah.
First prize
970.
is an Orbi 970 series 3-pack.
3-pack.
That is worth
Valued
$3,999.
Let's call it $4,000. Okay.
Unbelievable.
$4K.
This is wild.
And this will change everything.
So this one goes.
The winner is?
The comment is. I'll say the comment and then everyone.
Do a drum roll or no?
Okay, do it.
Drum roll. Winner is, what's his name?
R.I.P. Uzi.
R.I.P. Uzi.
Rip Uzi. So the comment is, over the years, we've heard why Cars is a better movie than Star Wars. Their joint love of Lego, Ziggy and Zaggy, Steven's kids' travels, his love of Disneyland, Trevor's Mazda 2, his mum's pub, his kids growing up, someone watching chicken and corn while travelling overseas, expensive restaurants in America, the love and excitement Trevor had while living in Perth, not. That's in the comment. Big hands versus small hands. Stephen's kitchen renovations. Trevor's recent house renos. The best NRL team, the mighty Rabbitohs. Yeah. But overall, the listeners and watchers have learned about tech and how these two guys not only provide the best value podcast channel in the world, they're top blokes who provide a fantastic service to the Australian community while providing many, many laughs to all who listen. Congratulations on 14 years. Here's to the next 6. Well done and thank you. No, thank you.
Good
Rob,
you,
no, it's R.I.P. Uzi.
Rip Uzi, whoever you are.
That's gold.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's wild.
Yeah, that was good. There's a few comments of that in it.
There were a few.
And there was a few people calling me Stephen French for some reason.
A lot of people mentioned your age.
Yeah, right. And you notice they didn't win either. So, yeah. But no, I think that was the Stephen French line. There was some, I think there was another funny quote where it says, "Congrats to Trevor from the Today Show and Stephen French from Tim Cook." That was funny. Not quite enough to win it, but that was.
It was probably honestly
raise
fourth.
a chuckle. Yeah,
fourth.
It was close, but it was funny. Yeah.
If you'd have created an account with Tim Cook's profile photo and a username,
yeah. And maybe,
honestly,
and maybe written in Apple speak, you might have got something there. Yeah,
I reckon
we're really excited.
That could have got you over the line. Yeah.
Next time.
Awesome stuff. We appreciate everyone's comments. And look, if that was your way of discovering that we do a video podcast, welcome.
Stick with it. Yeah.
Great to have your company. I enjoy video. I'm probably killing myself here because I actually don't think I could watch this the way I watch other podcasts because most of the podcasts I watch are on the big screen just in the background.
Yep.
I'm not sure this is
still background.
Great
with
background.
The occasional glance. At
but
the
that's
screen.
how I do it. I'm obviously unique. I have an office with a big TV in the background, but sometimes I just have a picture-in-picture of a stream or something going while I'm
Today
working.
Show while you're working, mate?
Yeah, that's how I have the picture-in-picture. On 9 Now, you've got the picture-in-picture.
Is that the little one or the big pictures the podcast you're listening to? And then
I'm saying while you're working on your computer, you can hit the picture-in-picture and it brings it down so that you don't have to be on the browser.
Not your television.
Yeah, sometimes I do it this way.
Very good.
I always watch the Today Show on 9 Now.
Mate. So
I don't think I've watched the Today Show on an antenna.
Wow.
For a long time.
Look how advanced Trevor is.
Well, no, just because we don't have an antenna in the dining room, where I might have breakfast at home. And here I don't have an antenna in the office. So, yeah.
Should I get you a quote, mate? You want to put one in or what?
No.
No?
I got 9 Now.
Don't need one?
I got Hubby. Everybody's hubbling.
Are you still using that?
It's still here.
The marketing budget has completely disappeared for that. Is that still existing?
I saw Hamish and Andy the other day.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Might have been residual spend for them.
Right.
Look forward to seeing them at the Grand Prix on Saturday next week.
Oh, yeah.
That'll be fun.
Well, mate, I was at the Grand Prix last year as a guest of Hubble when it was just released and fresh.
Yeah.
No such invitation this year.
Well, you did get an invitation?
No, but not from Hubble, though.
The same people.
Or Fox.
Fox Sports.
Yeah, no, but I didn't get an invitation from... It was
did.
Lenovo.
No,
Lenovo.
you did. Remember?
But it was,
there was no flights
to the event, and then you just got to get yourself there. It's like, you just gave me a bill, not an invitation. I'm thinking, all right, I'm going to go to an event. I'm going to pay my own airfares and hotel.
Well, here's how crazy I am.
Yeah.
So I had a loose conversation with the guy from Mercedes-Benz about going.
Yeah.
And then I had that same email from Fox Sports. I thought, okay, I'm good to go.
So you're going to go to that then?
Hang on. And then I kind of waiting and thinking, should I prod these people? Then I got a Mercedes invite. Cool. And I'm thinking I got to lock this in because also I've decided I've pitched that I do the Today Show, so I kind of got to lock it all in. So I went, bugger it. I bought my own flights. And then I thought I need accommodation. So that's when I reached out to Mercedes and said, hey, just check in. And they were like, yeah, just cool. We'll set that up. And then I got an extra day's invitation. Yeah. And I didn't want to go back to Mercedes and say, can you add a day? So I'm going to change hotels for the last day. So I'm doing Mercedes-Benz on the Thursday, Friday. Yeah. I'll do Fox Sports on
Wednesday night. You're there Wednesday night too, are you?
Oh, no, I'm talking about the Grand Prix. Yeah. I'm going to the Mercedes. They've got a car reveal, and then I'll stay in their corporate facilities for Thursday, Friday. Saturday, I'll go to Fox Sports on the last turn, but I've also got an invitation from Raphael at TCL sent me a ticket to the Red Bull Energy Station, which is like their pumped-up party station at the end of pit row. So I'll probably go there for qualifying on Saturday night.
Really get yourself out there. You're getting around.
And then on Sunday, I'm a guest of MasterCard in the McLaren corporate facility.
Hello.
So
wow,
it's very good.
That's
awesome.
Very
good
for you.
But I've paid for my own flight, so if you've got some drama, stick it up. You know what?
Well, you can use the points and tax write off.
Yeah, I mean I'm working.
Yeah,
it's a job. Absolutely, this is my job, people.
Absolutely. I thought you might have driven the Cupra down, mate.
Nah, a lot of Ks on my cars already. I don't really need.
Really? How many?
Well, I noticed the EV9 is at 18.
Wow.
18,000. It's only coming up on a year next month.
Wow.
Yeah.
My car's got of 10,000.
Yeah, but you don't drive.
Yeah, I do. I drive to this place every Wednesday. It's a really long drive into the country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, I'll be able to relieve you of some case because we've got cars booked for coming up. You don't have to drive your own car.
For our Two Blokes Talking Electric Cars podcast, another great
show in part of the value proposition here.
Feed, yeah.
It's just value non-stop here.
That's it. We're all about giving. We just give, and give, don't we? We don't take. We're just giving.
Not from our audience, I don't take.
Yeah.
But from anyone willing to give, I'm willing to take. Just for the people at Road, I'm whispering. It's not coming on me, okay? So.
Yeah, that's right.
Trevor. Oh, hang on. No, it's not my fault. I took it out of auto mode because I clicked.
Oh, you idiot.
I took it out of auto mode because I clicked on. Oh, now it's on me again. Anyway, back to you. It's all good. Let's just start the show.
Welcome to Two Blokes Talking Tech.
Not a bad price.
With Trevor Long from EFTM.com.
Really handy device.
And Stephen Fennick from techguide.com.au.
Episode 673, thanks to the awesome people at Arlo who will protect your home with security cameras, floodlight cameras, whatever you need, they've got you covered. And Netgear, who, if you can't win one,
the great prizes,
you can go and buy one. And we appreciate Heidi and Sarah and everyone at Netgear's support for the giveaway for 14 years. We didn't even have to ask. I did ask for 14 prizes, and they went, that's a bit much, isn't it?
One for every year.
I thought that was cool.
So, look, we love you, but...
She said, how about 3?
No, that's fair, mate. That's fair. Especially the top prize is worth $4,000.
Yeah, I know. Come on. I didn't expect
That's what
that.
Trevor earns in an hour. Like, come on.
You kidding? I don't get out of bed for that.
Wow.
Sometimes you've got to have that conversation with yourself about what is the number to make me want to do this thing.
Mate, there's a lot that doesn't get me out of bed. It's a lot. It's a lot.
Look, and I know this is whatever talk, but that sometimes I used to just agree to anything. And I still do a lot of stuff for nothing because there's this ancillary benefit for it. But some stuff that is paid work, I'm like, but for the same amount of money, I can just do this thing that takes me a third of the time. What am I doing?
That's right.
Sometimes you got to think about that
stuff. Of course, mate. Our time is valuable.
And look, apologies to Rode for suggesting there was a problem, but mate, we just need to work on the auto button. Just needs to be easier to activate. I've got to push and hold a button. It should just be a click of a button. Anyway, so the inside baseball feedback there is that the people at Rode did watch last week's episode and sent some feedback about why they didn't think the switching was working.
Why the camera lingers on me.
Because they said, the quote was along the lines of, you're very loud.
They said Trevor's loud.
No, the email was to me. They go, you're very loud and you're being heard through Stephen's microphone. Yes. See, that's why it's still on you.
You sent me that feedback on it and I said, yeah, that's right, you loudmouth. That's why.
I'm just going to try and whisper like this now.
It's going to be like an ASMR.
If I talk into the microphone like this.
Talk like this.
If the camera's on you and I want it on me, I'll just talk like this, and then it'll come to me.
There you go. Look.
Yeah. Anyway, episode 673. Thanks for your support and appreciate all the lovely best wishes we got on DMs and things after putting it up on social
Did you
media.
like that little collage I made?
It was
Did you
okay.
like that?
It wasn't.
Oh,
I mean, it was all right.
just okay. Well, that took all of 5 minutes.
I was going to say it took 3 to 4 minutes.
Yeah, Canva did a good job. No, just
That's Canva?
Gathering the photos. Yeah,
Gathering the photos. Just Google Photos. Trevor and Stephen. Done. Take 2 minutes.
It was my own photos that were already in my system. I had them all.
So I just go to my Google Photos library and just search for the two of us and it comes up.
There you go.
Google Photos, mate, so much better than Apple.
No, love it.
So much better. Yeah. Anyway, it's a big week for mid-tier smartphones, Stephen.
It is, yes. We've seen Samsung have announced just as they just finished the Galaxy S series.
I mean, honestly,
they're launching the Galaxy A series.
Galaxy A36, Galaxy A56, and there's a Galaxy A26 as well.
So these are mid-tier devices, starting at $499 for the A26, going up to $799 for the A56 with, I think if you want the 256 memory.
$699.
No, $699 for the 128, $799 for the 256.
Who's buying that?
Yeah.
Just buy the 128.
And
but between
what's the middle one is...
so $499, $549, and $699.
Yeah.
I haven't set this one up yet, so I can't show you the screen.
And all of them have triple camera system.
Yeah, so they all essentially look the same from the back. They all look the same from the front, except there's a slight difference to the notch on them. So one of them has a teardrop notch. Some of them have the pinhole.
Yep.
So the 26 has the teardrop, whereas both the 36 and 56 have the cutout hole punch. But they are
interesting,
big screens, 6.7-inch screens.
And really slick-looking design too. Triple camera system. They've got a touch of AI as well, so not completely bereft
So this
of
to
AI.
me is an interesting thing, right?
Yeah.
There's no Galaxy AI.
Yeah, it's called Awesome AI.
Anything Galaxy AI refers to essentially the S25 series, right?
Yeah.
And there's part good and bad there, right? It kind of says, look, we couldn't pack enough processing power into this to really give you the full Galaxy AI experience. But what is here is essentially Circle to Search or Samsung's AI Select.
And some photo editing stuff as well.
Yeah, some photo cleanup, those kind of things, which, let's be honest, those are the most popular AI applications.
It's like Galaxy
Samsung
AI
has.
Lite, basically. You know.
And I think they're things that people will use.
Yeah.
I think they're genuinely things that people will use. I wonder if I can take a photo of you and then just remove you from it.
I don't think that'll work.
Don't think that'll work?
But you've also got the best face as well.
I'm going to remove the Rabbitohs thing from the back.
The best face. So, when you take a photo and you can get everyone's right expression.
Yep.
So that's a part of the deal.
Which is, you got three people in a photo. You always take multiple shots. Yep. And then you realise at no shot are all three people looking at the camera.
If you've got kids, this is good if you've got kids because they can never all smile at the same time. Game changer. But we're talking here, they've all got 5,000 milliamp hour batteries, which that's a day and a half or 2 days worth. And really nice looking phones too, I think. Really good looking phones.
The 56 is the only one with the metal chassis, so the metal frame. And I've got to tell you, it does look slick.
That's the aluminium.
It really comes up looking very, very nice.
It is nice. With a nice glass back panel as well.
I'm just tapping on the Rabbitohs.
Okay.
The Rabbitohs. Wow. Here, you can't probably see it there, but I've just tapped on the Rabbitohs thing over Stephen's shoulder, clicked erase, and hey presto, it's happening as we speak. I can't. It's gone.
Gonski.
It did an okay job of that. It did a pretty good job considering there's a patterned background. Let's get rid of that stupid. What's that thing called? The white thing, Stormtrooper. Also gone. Look at that.
Wow.
Look at that, folks. If you're watching the video feed, that's
declutter
awesome.
my photo. What are you?
I'm a big fan. That is beautiful.
They're also IP67 rated, so they're rugged, water and dust resistance, Corning glass screen as well.
Yep.
And I think interesting timing. It's funny. I did my session with these told about them the same day I did my session with the iPhone 16e.
Yeah, right.
And so Apple's idea of that's their idea of a mid-tier phone.
No, Apple never say mid, but they did say more affordable. They did use that word, didn't they?
Still, these are hundreds of dollars cheaper. And look, I published my 16e review on Monday and spoke about it on Tech Guide podcast. But one line I said in my review was that people want an iPhone experience.
Yes.
And I've said to people, I said, you know what, you can for $500 you can get triple camera system, great screen, battery, the whole bit. And they say, but it's missing one thing. I say, what's that? Well, it's not an iPhone.
Hmm.
So that's the sentiment with these diehard
And look,
iPhone users.
I don't want to go too much on an iPhone tangent here, but I read and watched a lot of other reviews of the iPhone 16e. You know, when the embargo lifted, I'm like, I want to see what everyone else, because sometimes you think, did I get it wrong? Whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all these people are bagging it for the price.
Yeah.
But the fact is that the first question you and I ask people when they ring on the radio and say, I need a new phone, is you say, what's your current phone?
Yeah.
And then they say it's an iPhone. And you say, are you willing to switch? And they say, no, I want an iPhone again. Well, that just rules out these phones.
Because people want the experience. And we won't go too deep in this tangent, but only Apple offers Apple hardware, Apple software, Apple intelligence, Apple silicon. No one else does that, which is why they can attract customers who want to pay that much.
It's kind of not like, in the end, there is a bit of a comparison to cars here, actually, because, I think it's hilarious to me that someone just goes and buys another Toyota Corolla, having owned one for years, without driving a Hyundai i30.
Yeah.
I think it's a better car.
Yeah.
They're buying it for the badge. You can't compare spec for spec these phones other than Android phones.
Yeah.
So you can compare spec for spec a bunch of Android phones and then say something set them above. So some AI features of some might be better than others. But if you compare an iPhone to an Android, it's no point.
They're too far apart.
There's very few people, as we've discussed, Samsung have even said this to us, where their biggest obtaining of Apple customers is on the Z series because it's a fold. It's different,
phones.
right?
Yeah.
But there's not a huge transfer of customers from one to the other. But for people running a Samsung Galaxy S8, 9, 10, that's really end of life now,
or an older A series as well,
or an older A series, to be able to step into this and go, this is a beautiful screen. It's a great camera system. This ticks every box. And I've got to be honest, I'm still not sure that many people want AI. AI. I think a lot of people are using it, but I don't think a lot of people are wanting it, and therefore using it as a shopping
upgrade. I reckon on the Apple side there are customers moving towards it for Apple Intelligence. They've marketed it really well.
Yeah,
and a Galaxy AI, I think, true again. But if you're already playing in that price range, you're probably likely to upgrade sooner. But if you're down in this mid tier, and let's face it, most of the Australian smartphone market is here.
Yeah.
Not everyone spends $1,500, $2,000 on a phone. Most people, I think, what's the average price people spend on a phone? Like $700, $800?
I don't know.
Something like that. So this is the bread and butter.
What you've got to do as a observer of this industry is say, let's firstly exclude all the people who go on to 24 and 36-month contracts because they don't care about the cost of the phone. They're just paying it off, right? Yeah. So now let's look at the people who are either buying it outright or maybe putting it on their credit card and paying it off over a couple of months, right? Yep. So those people are going to look at this and go, for $699, I can still have a triple lens. Yep. I can have the Samsung ecosystem that I'm already in. Yeah. There's a bunch of positive features and reasons why this is awesome. And I've got to be honest, I probably would push people towards the 56 because I do think the premium finish of the aluminium frame and stuff is kind of worth the extra 150 if you're going from a 36 in terms of comparison. I think the 26 at $499 is probably a tough sell, even though it's got most of the things you need. Yeah. You're basically stepping up in quality of everything. So your camera, your screen, all those things, they just get a little better.
But Samsung give you the choice. They give you the choice. You've got a cheaper phone. That's why they're the number one brand, because they can sell a $499 phone and a $3,000 phone.
There are, I'm not saying millions, but there's 1 million or more phones sold in Australia in this price range. This mid-tier, which I class as being 400 to 800. Yeah. I think you'd find if you spoke to someone at Apple, they would say the mid-tier is 800 to 1200, but that's not true. The market says that the mid-tier is 4 to 8, the low tier is sub 400, and the premium is 800 plus. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a pretty simple explanation of the market. And these don't go on sale to the end of March.
Yeah, March 27th.
So it's a strange thing. Also, I don't go to Barcelona. Yeah. And this has got to be the most busy MWC.
A lot of stuff there.
Fair income 6 years. Christ.
There's HMD and HMD.
Even just a phone. So HMD, which you talked about a lot on the Tech Guide podcast. Yeah. I've written it at EFTM and use a Tech Guide. But, they've got a phone focused on families, the Fusion. Well. Yeah. Plus a really cool little music player I want to try out.
Yeah.
because I want to understand how hard it is to get MP3s now. But because you would get this as well.
Yeah.
People ask you on the radio, I just want a music player.
Just want to play music. Yeah. Yep.
So the HMD, Samsung, nothing, which we'll talk about in a second. There's just 3 announcements, big announcements.
Yeah.
Oppo did do a bit of a reveal, but not really for Australia. But there's 3 big things.
Yeah.
And
we
then
were
we said,
there.
I didn't bloody go.
Yeah.
I'm just like, how is this happening? Nothing has happened there for years.
Yeah.
And then suddenly it all does.
We need it. We need more of a heads up, guys. If you want us to,
I would argue that's true. Yeah.
Tell us what you're planning, and we can work together.
Because I think Samsung would normally have wanted to announce this late March, a week before it's available. But I think it also plays into that competitiveness of Samsung to say, well, Apple's just come out, let's go.
Yeah,
Let's
absolutely.
Go. Push the button.
But also, too, they timed it for MWC. They knew there was announcements coming,
Yeah.
which you touched on, the Nothing phones. And so the Nothing Phone 3A and
Now,
Phone 3A Pro.
I have them both, but I have one of them here because Harry, my 13-year-old, has been using for the last 10 months or more the Nothing 2A,
Yeah.
right? The simple 2-lens
Yep.
phone, and loves it. Like, he's deep in the ecosystem. Deep.
Yeah.
And to the point where I don't want to show him an iPhone so that he doesn't get dragged over, right? I love the fact that he's in the other ecosystem. He's got a watch from the Nothing company. So I think it's called CMF brand.
He's all in.
He wanted to buy headphones. So when he saw the teasers for this, he's telling me, I'm like, so Inside Baseball, he's like, Dad, there's a new thing. I went, mate, I've had a briefing on it. I know all about it. And then he comes home on Friday and the phones are sitting on the table and he goes, I said, mate, go for it. He goes, but I can't show it until Tuesday. I went, look, just make sure no one takes a photo, will you, buddy? That's really all that matters.
Yeah.
You'll be okay.
So he's put his SIM in at his
He rocked. He moved instantly to the Nothing 3A, and this is the 3A Pro. Now, this huge camera island here is frankly enormous. It's pretty good as a way to hold the phone because it's that
it's like
thick.
the Find, like the Oppo phones have the same circular.
And it's a strange array of lenses. They're not in any kind of symmetry or order. They're kind of randomized.
Like, hold up the back panel. What appeals to me is that's a transparent rear panel, right? So
It's
you can
not.
sort of.
I mean, it's not
you can,
really.
well, you can look into it a little bit.
You're not really. I think it's all for show. I don't think they're really.
I think it's see-through. Yeah.
I don't think they're really actual cables and things. Maybe some of them are.
My point is, it's not just a plain boring color. It's different.
It's not a good color to show the black, to be honest. But
the white one looks really cool.
The white one
one's got a
really
much smaller,
really shows it.
There's pictures on EFTM and Tech Guide. The white one's got a bit more subtle camera bump.
Well, the 2A, the 2A comes in. I think it comes in other colors. It comes in a blue. I wouldn't mind seeing the blue 2A.
Yeah, that's nice. I've got a picture of it on my site, actually. Yeah, it's nice, the blue one. Yeah, blue looks good, actually. Yeah, look at that.
What's fascinating to me is essentially they're the same phone, just with a different camera system.
Yeah, camera's slightly better on the Pro. I think there's also...
no doubt. It's got a periscope lens for 3x optical. But Harry and I took it out for some camera testing on the weekend. And honestly, on the 3A, you can do a hybrid 4x zoom with a 2x optical. Yeah. On this, you can do a hybrid 6x zoom with a 3x optical. I mean,
it's the periscope you're playing for, isn't it?
Yeah, but I don't think it's that big a deal.
They've got the same 5,000 milliamp hour battery. And you're right, the camera, apart from the camera difference, I'm trying
pretty
to
much the same.
See what other differences there are.
Are they $599 and $829 or $529 and $899?
$599 for the 8 gig 128, $689 for the 256 3A.
No, just talk about the two basic phones, the Pro and the 8.
Well,
$599,
$599, $849.
$849, right? The extra $230 to go to the Pro, I don't think's worth it.
Yeah,
mate. Honestly, I think at $599. And I think EFTM, we gave the Nothing an award last year for best phone under 600 or something.
Yep.
I can't see it not winning that again.
Yeah.
It's such a good
and
phone.
What I like about it too, like it's built on Android 15, but it's got such a unique UI.
Oh yeah,
like, it's really cool. Like
but it's not a sluggish. They've thought about every icon, every button you press, everything you do,
very detailed.
And there's also firstly, there's no wireless charging in either of them.
No.
Right?
Okay.
You could see that as a negative. I'm not too fussed about it.
How many mid-tier phones have wireless charging?
Correct.
Do the Samsungs?
No.
They don't have it either, wireless charging.
Oh, don't know.
I don't think they do. Actually, let me check that. I'll check that while you're talking.
So what they do have, though, is no AI of what we normally would talk about. We normally talk about AI being image generation, writing assistant, stuff like that. But they have an AI that's, I think, more potentially usable. And it's this extra side button on the side here, and you double click it, and it opens a kind of a screenshot thing. So let's say I'm on a browser and I go to this fancy website called Tech Guide or something like that.
Talking about the essential button.
The essential button.
Yeah,
and
nice.
it's this essential space is what they call it. Oh, I've got to sign in.
Yeah.
You screenshot, you double click, and whatever's on your screen becomes a screenshot, and then you can record a message, you could write a message, and it becomes this little kind of memory basket, right?
Yep.
So if you were to use it almost religiously, you could really use this as a way of managing things that you've got to remember. So if you screenshot a concert, it'll actually look at that, and if it says remind me to put this in my calendar, it'll actually put it in your calendar for you, because it'll do like circle or search. It'll read that stuff. So there's an AI there that I think is more on the assistant side of the world than anywhere else. I don't mind it at all.
I agree, and it's very easy to access thanks to that dedicated button. And it is still, though, in beta. Like they're saying the people who buy that it'll work, but there's a lot of features yet to be rolled out. Like some of the other features will include camera capture, smart collections, focus search, flip to record. So they're coming. So anyone who buys it, they'll be compatible with. There's going to be upgrades for years. So you'll
6
be able
years
to
of upgrades.
Yeah, you'll be able to get those features.
Mate, I think at $5.99.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
It feels like a $7.99 phone.
And it's a nice looking phone. I really like the look and feel of them.
It feels super premium.
Yeah, they are. You're right. They do punch above their weight in terms of quality. It's a UK-based company, by the way. Nothing.
Yeah.
So nothing, really something is what I said in my headline.
Oh,
anyway.
there you go. There you go.
What I
there
said
you
in
go.
my headline.
I like it.
But it's. I think that they did make. I remember they weren't available in Australia to last year. Or year before,
it was last year that they came first. They went into JB's early.
Because I remember seeing them, the US reviewers. And they had their earphones and stuff. And everyone thinking, who is this brand?
Yeah.
And then suddenly now they've decided to make a pretty solid entry into the Australian market.
Yeah.
I understand they're going to go through JB Hi-Fi, as was last year's model as well.
Yep.
I think if the mid-tier needed a shake-up in terms of design and look and feel and OS, this is something different.
Yeah, no.
And different is refreshing to see.
Different is good,
different. Yeah.
Especially in this space where everything looks the same.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
right.
you got to be honest. A lot of phones, they all look the same.
Yeah.
So
and we haven't even mentioned the glyph lighting as well. The glyph. So there's a lighting system on the back that you can make it so that if you're getting a call, one light will come up. If you want to have a countdown timer, if you want to have other notifications for messages, social media notifications, the glyph interface, which are little lights that appear on the back panel, can be established to work in a certain way. So you can optimize them, customize them to flash at certain notifications or calls or whatever. So you're trying to get it working now.
Yeah, I was going to get it to change the ringtone.
That again is probably the biggest point of difference.
See that there? You can change the ringtone.
Oh, there you go.
Different ringtones look different.
Yeah.
So what Harry does, he's got different patterns for different apps and different things.
For notifications.
For me, I never...
Oh, that's a Facebook
last year when I was playing with it, I never really bought into the glyph thing.
Yeah.
But now watching Harry, who's 13, like he's all in.
Yeah.
Like it's...
And it's open to developers too. Developers can take advantage of that too and create something.
And let's be clear, they haven't released their Nothing 3, which you would assume would be at the next level. It would probably have more power and performance. Maybe it does have some AI.
So is that later this year?
I would assume, yeah.
So that's more like how Pixel's got the Pixel 9a and the Pixel 9 and Pro?
Yeah.
Is that the similar setup?
I think this is very much the same. But it's not going to be a $2,000 phone. It's more like a $1,200 phone, yeah. So that, mate...
Keen to see that one.
I'm a fan of nothing.
Yeah, a fan of nothing.
And a lover of everything.
I like it when my wife said, what do you got there? I said, nothing. She said, no, what do you got there? I said, nothing. It was like who's on first sort of thing.
That conversation didn't happen, but it was very funny. Okay.
What do you got there, babe? Nothing.
Give the old man credit for the jokes, but that's fair dinkum made up.
That was hilarious.
There's no doubt that happened.
What do you got there? Nothing.
Didn't happen.
Yeah.
Two Blokes Talking Tech. You can read the launch information about the Nothing phone and the Samsung Galaxy A series at techguide.com.au and EFTM.com. And, of course, there'll be full reviews in the days, weeks and months ahead.
Everything about tech you never wanted to know. This is Two Blokes Talking Tech.
Two Blokes Talking Tech is proudly supported by that little brand over my shoulder here. Look, Arlo. Arlo is one of the leading home security companies that you can purchase cameras and doorbells and floodlights. And they all come together really well in the app, but also come together very well if you take out a secure plan. So the whole idea of this is it's subscription-based, starts from just $6.67 for a single camera, all the way up to $15 a month. You can actually that price is if you're billed annually, so it does become cheaper if you go all in there. But the advantage of having these subscriptions, there are several advantages. Number one is Arlo Intelligence, so you can actually detect people, vehicles, animals, packages, as well as person recognition as well. So you can program it to say not only that there's a person there, but it'll identify who that person is, which is a lot easier. I think a bit more of an intelligent notification rather than just thinking, who is that? You know exactly who it is. You also, of course, get video and event history. So you get up to 30 days of video and event recordings, even in 4K. So you can go back and take a look at what's happened. And also, I mentioned too the person and vehicle recognition as well. So vehicle recognition on top of the person recognition as well. So it does really add to the usefulness of your system, which, as I said, includes cameras, doorbells, floodlights. It all comes together nicely. Not only just in the Arlo app, but also in the Arlo secure plans. Check them out. Worth paying the price of a couple of cups of coffee a month to have that added peace of mind. Arlo.com.
This is Two Blokes Talking Tech with Trevor Long and Stephen Fennick.
My fault. Arlo.com. Check them out. Just felt like you rapped with a couple of cups of coffee thing.
Sign off there.
So it was a good sign off. A couple of cups of coffee.
Yeah, that's all it is, mate.
Yeah, this is how unscripted we are here. That's how bought
That's
into
how we roll.
And we understand our great supporters.
Yeah,
scriptless. We just do our best. Though those who are long-time listeners would know Stephen has literally forever signed off with the URL, so I stuffed up. Simple as that. Apple news this week. New iPad Airs yesterday. iPad and iPad Air. Standard iPad and iPad Airs.
It's for the iPad Air M3.
Yeah,
so was M1 before?
It was M1, so it's jumped to M3.
They like jumping, don't they? They don't like to go up by one.
Well, it's like they don't want to release it every year, which I respect, but when did the iPad Air last come out?
I thought it was last year.
I thought it was too, actually.
Yeah. iPad Air. Are you doing a search on EFTM or Tech Guide?
I am.
Tech Guide,
it's EFTM, obviously. Why would I search Tech Guide? But yeah, I mean, it is, without question, nothing more than a processor update.
Yeah. Well, it's the same design.
Same colours.
Yeah. So hang on, May 2024.
It was,
less than a year ago.
I went to London for it. Yeah.
Oh, that's that one.
Yeah.
So
this was when though it went to the new design and the new size.
And size, true. So it had a design upgrade as well as a processor upgrade.
Yes.
This time it's just a processor upgrade.
Yes.
So same design. And I think it was the first time they had a 13-inch model. Is that true?
Yes. The bigger size, because it had been that square look before in 2022. So
actually, it was powered by M2.
It was.
Yeah, M2.
So it's only had one jump.
It's got one jump, yeah.
Oh.
Powered by M2, 50% faster than the previous model. So fast forward to M3, and it's even better. And of course, more importantly, M3 with Apple Intelligence. Could an M2 run Apple Intelligence if you had last year's model?
Yeah, any M chip can.
So this is
that's why.
Is this a first?
Look, we sit through briefings, we read press releases. It's very hard sometimes to work out what's new.
Yeah.
What's different?
Yeah.
And in the end,
this case, it was just the chip.
It's the chip.
Yeah.
And
there was Apple Intelligence.
The 2022 model had M1. Okay. So then they went to 2024 M2, 2025 M3. So they just skipped a year in the middle there.
Do I still have I think I've still got an iPad Air. I might upgrade and see if I get Apple Intelligence. If you've bought if last year's iPad Air was M2, that should technically be Apple Intelligence, shouldn't it? I'm going to have to do the upgrade if I haven't already.
I think
worth checking out, don't you think?
iPad Air 11-inch. Are they still selling it? Can you go to apple.com and work that out?
Sure, great podcasting.
Yeah, no, it's what we do. When was the first generation of iPad Air?
iPad Air new. So what are they selling here? They're only selling. Well, that's the only model. It's
All
not like
right, so
iPhone.
I'm on the Apple website, right?
Yeah.
In the comparison site. So the 5th generation had a M1.
Yeah.
M3, that is what they call it, but it'd be 6th generation had M3.
Yeah.
And the M4 is what they call the 7th generation, has the M4.
Right.
So it was last year that it changed its dimensions, screen size a little bit.
Yep.
This year it has ProMotion technology
Yeah.
and a nano texture glass option.
Ah.
That's another new feature.
And I described the iPad
And
Air
yes,
as
the original Air, so
Yeah.
5th generation from 2022,
Yeah.
Apple Intelligence on
Boom.
the M1 chip.
I describe iPad Air as sort of the middle iPad. So you got your iPad, which is just called iPad, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then you got iPad Pro, and in the middle is iPad Air.
Oh, hang on, I've clicked the wrong bloody thing. It's the M3 that we've got this year, isn't it?
Yes.
Right, I've buggered that up. Sorry, buddy.
M3.
iPad Air with M2.
That was last year.
It was 11-inch. So ignore what I said about the screen technology. Completely ignore it. No nanotechnology. I was looking at the Pro.
Pro. Come on, mate.
They are the exact same liquid retina. They
Yeah.
are the exact same screen technology.
Now,
It's just the chip.
Are you looking at your old story?
No,
Like, did
I'm just comparing.
So the
on
iPad
Apple
Air
side.
with the Magic Keyboard.
Oh, yeah.
Did they have one of those
They
last
normally
year?
mention that. Supports Magic Keyboard, yes.
So last year they had it
So
too.
this is a new Magic
Supports
Keyboard. Yep. So this is the same, but it's a new version of the Magic Keyboard,
Righto.
which has a larger touchpad.
Yes.
And it has a full function row, like 13 or 14 key function row.
Also the USB
It had
smart
that already.
connector. I had that too.
Yeah.
For power and data.
They had a Magic Keyboard,
As
5th
well.
generation in 2022.
So this is a new version.
It's
of it.
just a new version.
Like this one, okay.
Apple's marketing is very much, this is new, this is new, this is what you
Yeah.
can do with this new thing, but it doesn't actually tell you what's new. There's not much that's new other than the processor.
They talk about, the CPU is 35% faster than the M1, not the M2. They compare to the M1.
Yeah.
40% faster than the M1. Because think about it, if you bought an iPad Air last year, you're not going to buy this one.
No.
If you bought the M1, which is 2 years ago, you might consider it.
I don't know anyone that's upgrading from an M chip to now.
Yeah.
Like if you have the M1, I don't think this is, unless you're doing high graphics, video editing, that kind of stuff,
And
you definitely see
They
benefits.
did show some pretty impressive demonstrations like video editing and Apple Intelligence and the image playground and all that, and adding pictures to notes. There's some
That's
features
all just
there.
stuff you can do on anything with Apple Intelligence, though. Oh, no, last year had no nano SIM. That's another difference, but that was last year. So
this
mate,
year
there
does?
is no. This year has no nano SIM again.
So it's just a chip upgrade.
It does say it supports
New
advanced eSIM technology.
Ooh.
I don't know what that means for more convenience and security.
And what about colours? Same colours, different colours?
I
think they're different.
exactly the same.
Really?
Yep, space grey, blue, purple, and starlight, same colours.
And it's still same 11 and 13-inch models as well.
So basically, it is a chip upgrade.
Yeah. It's the
that's
most
what it is.
affordable 13-inch iPad as well. Because iPad
If
Pro,
you go 13, of
otherwise
course.
the iPad Pro is the next solution.
The other one to look at, and this was a paragraph in their press release.
Yes, the iPad.
The iPad, not 11th generation. It's called the iPad A16.
Yeah.
So this actually, compared to the 10th generation, has a 0.1 inch bigger screen. It's 11 inch, not 10, 0.9. So it has the A16 chip up from A14, but not high enough to get Apple Intelligence.
Damn.
Oh, so close.
Damn.
And apart from that, not much difference.
So is that, apart from the iPhone 15?
Oh, this year, by the way, this is entry-level iPad, right, which is
$599. Yeah.
$599 for you. This is the cheapest iPad. It now does not support 64 gigabyte storage. Its entry price is 128 gig. So you're actually getting more for your buck, bang for your buck.
Same price,
It now
more
goes
storage.
up to 512 gigabytes. It's not bad.
Okay.
And
what's 512? That would be what, 999?
I don't know. I'm not on the pricing page. I'm on the comparison page. Everything else is the same, except the thing I just mentioned in the other one. The 10th generation iPad did have a nano SIM option. The new A16 model iPad does not have nano SIM option, so it's purely eSIM if you want to go cellular.
Only. Wow. So they got rid of all SIM card trays then?
Well, not in everything. There are still some.
No,
devices.
in iPads, but does the Pro still have a SIM tray? The iPad Pro?
iPad Pro.
I don't think it does.
I'm scrolling, baby. I'm
How
scrolling.
soon? Here's a question without notice. How soon will Apple's iPhones be SIM cardless?
iPad Pro has no SIM tray.
So how soon do you reckon before iPhone has no physical SIMs? Do you reckon a year, 2 years?
Well, it's already happened in America.
In the US, yeah.
I don't think Australia's there yet. I just don't think our understanding of eSIM, I think the complexity of it is huge. Yeah, I'm just not sure.
But I think it'll take a company like Apple to pull the trigger and decide, you know what? No more SIM card for you. No SIM card.
Here's what I predict. I predict we'll know it's coming because we'll see a surge in marketing and just – because you've got to remember, we'd need every telco to be able to support it. Yeah. Even the lowest of MVNOs.
Of course, yeah, of course.
So it will take some very interesting – there'll be marketing around how to use an eSIM, convert an eSIM. Yeah. Because what you need to do, let's say the iPhone 17 comes out with no SIM tray.
Yep.
If you're upgrading from a 12 or whatever, you need to, in your existing phone, your 12 or 13, you need to convert your SIM card to an eSIM and then do the phone transfer.
Wow.
And then it's fine. If you don't do that and just do a cloud backup, you've essentially got to go to your telco and get a QR code and get it all sorted. It's a pain in the ass. Okay. So they'll really need to encourage that understanding of please convert to eSIM before you do this.
So it might be a couple of years then.
Yeah. Nightmare for us. For us. Because I had an eSIM once and it was fine. It was during COVID when we were with Telstra for a bit. Yeah. And it was Telstra's app is brilliant. Really easy to switch from phone to phone. You just download the Telstra app on Wi-Fi. Yep. You log in and you say set up the eSIM. Boom, it installs it. Yep. Vodafone, it's a slightly more complex process, just not as easy as it could be. And so we need that process to be absolutely seamless before we can have full eSIM.
So how did they onboard American customers then?
There was a lot of uproar about it in the early month, but they've gotten through it.
But like I said,
and Americans are thicker than us, so
it's going to take an Apple to do this. I don't think Samsung would do this without Apple doing it first.
No, not at all.
It's like getting rid of the headphone jack. That was what did we call it? Brave decision.
Courageous.
Yeah, courageous. And then every other company did the same thing. So I think it's going to take an Apple to.
They got rid of the charging brick. That saved a lot of weight. I don't think the SIM card tray is going to do much for the environment. Getting rid of SIM cards.
Those little plastic things. I don't know. It's it makes my life easy because I switch my SIM to between 8 different phones a month. So having to switch eSIMs is going to be a bit of a task, isn't it?
It's a pain. Yeah. Having done it in the past, it's a complete not a pain.
Yeah, between different devices too. Yes. It's not like going iPhone to iPhone.
Nope. It requires you first thing you do to download the telco app and then get it all happening. And I think all the telcos need to up their game in that sense. Yeah. So look,
needs to be seamless. Seemingly easy, don't you?
We actually talked about nothing before the break, but this is pretty much all about nothing. Much ado about nothing from Apple. These iPad updates. Look,
mate, that's going to be my review headline for that phone. Much ado about nothing. That's a really good line.
Better get mine out quicker.
Mine's already up.
Look, you've got to update your models. You've got to keep them fresh. You've got to have the right latest technology, and that's what they're doing. Yeah. It's really as simple as that.
Fair enough, too. Right. Fair enough.
Two Blokes Talking Tech.
This is Two Blokes Talking Tech with Trevor Long and Stephen Fennick.
Now, I talked a few weeks ago about the social media ban.
We did.
And how the government was just doing nothing. Closed process. I think the government called it a targeted consultation.
Right.
That targeted consultation is still going on. And I have obtained a copy of a discussion paper from the government. Mate, the discussion paper for the rules they have to establish around the kids' social media ban, how many pages do you think that would be? A government document, got to discuss how this is going to be implemented.
173.
6 pages.
What?
Yeah.
That's brief.
Look at it. It's 6 pages. Okay. And the first 2 pages are a cover and a 6-line contents. There's 4 pages of bulk here, right?
That's refreshing.
So this document is essentially something that we understand, but we don't know. They're talking with all the big social media companies. They're talking with mental health groups, parenting advocate groups, all that kind of stuff. And its purpose is to understand and establish these rules. Essentially, the government, and I'll read it here, the department is seeking views on draft online safety rules that enable certain services to be excluded from the social media minimum age obligation. These services the services that are going to be excluded include messaging, online games, apps that primarily function to support health and education, and YouTube.
Yeah. which is a massive hole in it. That's the crux of their argument. So just to be clear, though, this was submissions from the platforms.
Correct. I haven't got to that yet, but this is the discussion paper, and so this has been sent out to all these groups, and anything those groups send back. And I'll be honest, I spoke to a mental health advocacy group yesterday and asked them if they would share their submission. They chose not to because they didn't want to put their head up to get it chopped off, kind of thing. They didn't really want to be part of the debate.
Yeah.
This is a closed process by the government. TikTok, Meta, and Snapchat today chose to release their submissions and show the public how they've responded to this. Now, interestingly, none of them had anything to say about gaming. None of them had anything to say about health and education. Snapchat had a little bit to say about messaging because the government discussion paper says that, for example, it would not facilitate an exclusion for Snapchat in its current form because Snapchat, while it supports messaging, also includes social networking. So Snapchat did have something to say about messaging.
Yeah.
But all four of those big platforms, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook and Snapchat, all of them essentially went to town on the government over the clear exclusion of YouTube from this social media ban because the government says, I'll find it and read it to you, the government says about YouTube, based on research undertaken by the eSafety Commissioner, YouTube has consistently ranked as one of the top digital services used by children and young people in Australia. While the platform undoubtedly functions as a source of entertainment and leisure, it's an important source of education and informational content relied on by children, parents, carers and educational institutions. This contrasts with others. Now, TikTok, Facebook and Snapchat all said, if it's educational, why isn't it excluded under the educational exemption?
Yeah.
Why have you just listed it as an exclusion? It's weird.
I see that TikTok said it's illogical. YouTube's functions and features, particularly those of its short platforms, shorts, are indistinguishable from its peers, and because arguments for YouTube's unique educative value are incorrect.
Yeah.
It's certainly going to be quite a storm, this one.
Look, it is, and I think and TikTok's submission included 3 screenshots. And if you just imagine this in your mind, folks, TikTok screenshot, a YouTube short screenshot, and an Instagram Reels screenshot. They're all the same.
Yeah.
And
YouTube's got the free pass.
All 3 of them.
I can understand where they're coming from. They'd be blowing up.
I am paraphrasing here, but all 3 of them say this whole market evolved so quickly. TikTok became big, and then quickly Instagram copied it with Reels. And then quickly YouTube created Shorts. So excluding YouTube
and Facebook
by default is like saying they're not going to evolve. Are you saying that platform's not going to change? It's not going to be any different in the future? You're just excluding them entirely.
And so what's the outcome then? Could the government... They've already made their mind up that YouTube.
Well, no, they haven't, mate. This is a discussion paper around the rules.
Could they backflip and say, okay, well, YouTube, you're out?
Correct.
Or okay, Facebook, you're back in?
They could.
Or TikTok, you're back in?
More likely, they say YouTube, you're out. And here's what I've learnt by reading these submissions. I've got a bigger problem with this whole thing. The ban, one of them, it's hard to find, but one of them talks about how the ban only excludes children from creating an account on these platforms.
But not operating an account.
No, not viewing the platforms. So you can log on, you can download YouTube and scroll through it. You can download TikTok and scroll through it. You can download Instagram, but you can't scroll through it. So the rules that the government's implementing only stop these account providers, these social media providers, from allowing kids to create accounts. It does not say that those kids cannot view the content.
Yeah.
Because one of the arguments is the government, I think, is making, and I've said basically the government now needs to tell us why YouTube is excluded. One of the arguments the government makes is, teachers show kids YouTube. Teachers send kids YouTube links. Yep. I can send you a link and you can view it.
Yeah.
I can send you an Instagram link and you can view it.
And you do.
You don't need to. You don't. But you don't need to have an account.
Yeah. And
you can just take that link and view
TikTok,
it in a
TikTok
browser
as well. You can. Yeah.
So
yes.
What are we actually like? I think it's exposed for me a bigger problem, and that is
a massive hole.
We're not actually excluding these. We're not actually banning these platforms.
So that the actual ban is being under 16
and having
creating an account.
Correct.
So the actual viewing of the content is there's a workaround.
We're banning kids from creating content
Yeah.
and leaving comments.
Yeah.
We're not stopping them from seeing
and
the
having
content.
an account under 16.
yeah.
But the actual content itself can be shared and viewed in numerous other ways.
Yeah. So the submissions from those three companies are not big either. They're a couple of pages, three or four pages. Succinct, I think, for a reason, to keep it simple and put it that way. I think, TikTok's probably the most verbose. Their conclusion, TikTok's conclusion is the government's standalone named exemption for only one platform is irrational and indefensible. An exclusivity agreement like this will hand one platform unfettered access to every teenager in Australia and provide one platform with an unchecked competitive advantage in the market. A sweetheart deal for just one platform won't help the government protect kids online. It will only hurt young Australians in the long run.
I wonder, why does Google get the pass here? Has Google, just as these companies had submissions and everything, right? There are there'd be lobbyists, wouldn't there? There'd be lobbyists that have been in the background for months.
I understand
Google
there's people
lobbyists.
that work in government now that used to work at YouTube.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Okay.
Does that play into it?
Yeah. Well, I'm just asking. Google is a big company, very powerful company, and you remember that they had sort of they mixed with the government. Remember when the news deals were all done as well, and they were a little bit more in agreement with the government, whereas Meta sort of took a bit more. They were a bit more combative.
Does
that help them?
I wonder if it's because the government and their advisors and the people working there are just not at the coalface. They're not looking at what their kids are doing, or they don't have kids at this age, or they're not aware. See, look, in their defense, most people don't know YouTube Shorts exists.
Yeah,
they just think it's they log onto a browser.
They just see they
and
think it's a
they watch stuff, right?
Video. Yeah, right.
So that's what they think of YouTube.
Yeah.
They don't think of YouTube as YouTube Shorts.
So do you think potentially that the government might sort of dismantle YouTube partly, say, okay, this part's banned, this part's not, or it's one or nothing, isn't it?
At this point, it's all one thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
So,
but I'm finding I watch a lot more YouTube Shorts than I did before. Are you finding the same
mate,
thing?
I scrolled through it for that experiment a few weeks ago, and, mate, there were so many ads. It was just horrible. Way too many ads. I don't like it.
Easy to flick past it, though.
I was not a fan of it. So, so I had this conversation with it was Bilko and Jade, Bilko's a big listener of the show. And we were talking about this, and she said to me, "Oh no, my kids are banned from social media until 16. That's in our house. That's our rule." I went, "Okay, cool."
That was already happening.
And
wow.
And I said, "What are they allowed to do on their phone?" She goes, "Oh, they're allowed on YouTube." And I went, "You might want to spend some time looking over their shoulder because they're on TikTok. We used to call it UTalk in our house.
Yeah, YouTube.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's the same swipe and scroll platform.
Yeah.
Why are we allowing it?" So I don't know. See, there's a cyclone going on at the moment, so this is not going to get a lot of media coverage. But the problem is this, and this is actually an attack or a slight on mainstream media. News Limited don't want to come out and say these rules are crap because they fought for the rules.
Yeah.
Fitzy and Whipper, who created the 36-month campaign, they don't want to come out and say that you're doing this process wrong because they're just happy they've done the process.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
They don't want to tarnish what their campaign.
But what they should be campaigning for.
Yeah.
And here's the other thing. None of these submissions suggest that the government stop this ban because it's already legislated.
Yeah.
Basically, these companies, TikTok, Facebook, and
them?
Snap, have basically said, we're working on how to implement this ban.
Yeah.
But what about them?
Yeah.
So they've conceded the ban.
Yeah.
But they're saying, what about them?
Okay. Well, that's
kind of a good thing.
That's a positive. Yeah.
Now,
for sure.
I don't know how we get this message out any further than what we do ourselves, but that's my problem is I don't think the government's going to come under any scrutiny until someone in the press gallery starts asking those questions because, frankly, no one wants to because they won the battle.
And it's a bipartisan thing too. So
correct.
Both parties were, I don't think, Peter Dutton couldn't come out against this.
The media universally lobbied for it.
Yeah.
Both parties agreed to it. It passed. It's a big win.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if we implement something that's rubbish, it doesn't do what it was intended to do.
Yeah, but you're right. Everyone was sort of pulling in the same direction, but the devil's in the details, though. You got to make sure that, it seems that, and mate, imagine if you were TikTok or Meta, you'd be dirty that YouTube gets a free pass here. You'd be thinking, hang on a minute, this is going to cost me, could be potentially, hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue and data and eyeballs.
Yeah.
So
also, if you want to get the Minister of Communications on, you'll need to ask. Because TikTok quoted me in their submission.
Really?
You know that thing I did a few weeks ago comparing YouTube and TikTok and the amount of educational content?
Yeah, that's right.
They quoted,
scrolling.
I can't remember what they called me, but they quoted me in it. Yeah. So probably...
Tech troublemaker, Trevor Long, is that what he said, or?
I'll tell you what they said. Respected...
What's her name? Michelle Rowlands?
Michelle Rowlands. In fact, a recent analysis by respected tech expert Trevor Long.
Yeah.
I'll take
doing the educational comparison. Yeah,
it's found that TikTok contains roughly 12 times the amount of educational content as YouTube, which is what I found.
YouTube's going to be not going to be banned, and TikTok is.
Yeah. The problem is no one's talking about it. No one wants to talk about it because the fight has already been won.
Yeah. Well,
Apollo Creed has been given it on points. That was the first movie, folks.
That's Rocky 1, yeah. Rocky 2, though, you never know.
Who knows? The best movies you've never seen this week. Anyway, we'd love to know what you think, but get in touch anytime. You can find us on social media and DM us and chat with us that way, or you can find us via our websites, techguide.com.au and EFTM.com.
This is Two Blokes Talking Tech.
Now, you're just salivating over the amazing prize won by one of our great listeners earlier in the show. The Netgear Orbi 970 series quad-band Wi-Fi 7 mesh 3-pack system. Now, there's a black edition too, by the way. You can get exclusively on the Netgear website. That is worth looking at. Now, this is a $3,999 product. This is not something you buy on a whim. But if you're upgrading your home, if you're renovating your home, if you are extending your home, if you're upgrading all your home technology, if you know that you're someone that buys the latest and greatest, you're getting all the smart home things, then this is what you need. Up to 27 gigabit speeds, up to 660 square meters coverage, 10 gig Ethernet speeds, Netgear Armor built in, so you get protection from the nasties of the internet coming into your home, not just to your devices. This stops them coming into your home, and it's all underpinned by Wi-Fi 7 technology. You can buy the Netgear Orbi 970 at netgear.com.au. It is an outstanding system that will allow for 8K streaming across your home, gaming, more, so much to offer you, and easy to set up for any single internet provider. So if you want the absolute best, the Netgear Orbi 970 series is for you, and you can check it out at netgear.com.au.
This is Two Blokes Talking Tech.
A couple of quick things, because I've added one to the list, so we'll just churn through them.
You've
here.
added one?
I added one to the list. I thought it was pretty big. We should mention it. You know?
I mentioned that on Tech Guide this week as well. So,
did you?
It's covered it like a tarpaulin.
Everyone that listened, tune out soon, because we'll see those numbers dip.
Yeah, it's incisive commentary.
Couple of quick things. So the NBN SkyMuster satellites that are up in the air. So if I talk quietly, it does excuse me. I'm just still fascinated by. I don't know how to talk any differently because
just talk as you do.
I think we're sitting too close.
Be yourself, mate. Do you want me to sit further away, or
do I want you to? Maybe.
Well, I think have to adjust the cameras, mate.
Anyway, so the SkyMuster satellites. Now, there's thousands of people who use NBN satellite because that's their only way of getting internet.
Yep.
And I just want to say this from the start: without the government, Labor and Liberal, creating the NBN, there would be no satellite in the air. These are satellites created and owned by the NBN.
Yep.
If they didn't do that, we would have been waiting until Elon Musk did his Starlink, which would have been a 10-year wait for all those people to be still running on ADSL. So let's just be clear. I know SkyMuster.
They had the idea first.
I know SkyMuster's not the best internet, but it's a whole lot better than what existed there before. And I know this because my mum's pub had ADSL, 2 meg down, half a meg up. We upgraded to SkyMuster. 25 down, 3 or 4 up. It was unbelievable, and it is being upgraded all the time. But those satellites, they only have a certain lifespan. They're up 36,000 kilometres above the Earth, providing internet to us. That's remarkable to me. And they cost tens of millions of dollars, and they stop working in the 2030s, right? So they need a plan. Their plan is
up 36,000 kilometres.
36,000 kilometres because they're 36,000 kilometres.
Wow.
They're geostationary, so they sit above Australia.
So low Earth orbit.
No, low Earth orbit is 600 kilometres, like
so
Starlink.
SkyMuster's up higher.
Then there's the satellites that orbit the Earth at the next level, and then there's 36,000 kilometres where geostationary ones just
sit there
and they follow.
So there's
Australia.
low Earth orbit, and then there's the one that goes round.
Yep.
And then there's above that is
geostationary. They sit and
these are larger satellites. They tend to be, because I know the Starlink and they're quite
the
small.
size of a box.
Yeah.
So NBN clearly realised they needed a way to service the thousands of people in regional areas that they do now with satellite for the long term. So they mentioned some time ago they were going to go out to
They
market.
went to a lot of trouble and a lot of expense too to get their satellites up there.
Correct,
Yeah.
but they always had a fixed lifespan. So they need a next plan. The next plan was to go to low Earth orbit. Now, there's no way they're going to launch satellites again. Why would you when there are 3,500 Elon Musk satellites up there, and there's going to be 3,500 Amazon satellites up there.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of other companies doing the same thing in this 600-kilometre range.
It's crowded up there, eh?
It is crowded, but it's also
If
very
you launched
spacious.
a rocket, are you going to bump into a lot of these or what?
There's a lot of space up there.
Is there? Okay.
A lot of space up there. Get it?
Yeah.
So a lot of people thought that the NBN would do a deal with Starlink.
Yeah.
Now, there's no deal been done, I should say, but the rumours are strong that they're about to do a deal with Amazon.
Yeah,
for their
I saw
Kuiper
the story
system.
in the Fin Review, and you were told a bit through your sources too, where?
So, no, I was directed to the Fin Review story.
Yeah.
Kuiper. Kuiper is Amazon's system. Now, this is they'll have 50% of their 3,500 satellites up there by 2026, and by I think it's 2029 they'll have 90% of the satellites up there. And so basically what will happen here is the NBN will offer a Kuiper satellite dish
Kuiper-powered dish,
and an NBN service. Now, what I think will be interesting is, Starlink now is $600 to get, and then $140 a month. The NBN need that to be cheaper up front, and they need it to be cheaper by the month. Now, the good thing is I've seen, and there's a photo on my website, I've seen the Kuiper the dishes. There's one that's this big.
What?
Yep. It's 7 by 7 inches.
Yep.
There's one that's 11 by 11 inches, and there's one that's 32 by 18.
So there's one about the size of this laptop.
Yep. Now, the small one gives you 100 meg speeds. The bigger one gives you 400 meg speeds, and the huge commercial one gives you gigabit speeds.
Okay.
So I think what they'll offer is, options. So an upfront cost or not kind of thing. And I think they'll offer speed options. And I think they'll be able to bring it in at essentially NBN prices.
Yeah. Well, you think of that at the moment, NBN, you pick your internet service provider, and it's an NBN service. So this is just yet another provider, basically, isn't it, that they're going to...
Well, it's interesting now because you've got to remember, the provider's not going to be Amazon. The provider's still going to be a retailer of the NBN.
Okay.
And I think you'll find Amazon won't launch in Australia independently. I think that'll be interesting. I wonder whether they'll launch independently
so you
or
mean
not.
They'll offer it to Optus and Telstra and Vodafone to resell
the NBN?
Yeah.
Well, that's what the NBN is. The NBN's a wholesaler.
Okay, so they'll
offer satellite NBN through retailers who choose to sell it. Now, right now, Telstra and Optus don't offer SkyMuster NBN satellite services.
No.
There's actually only a few that do. And I think it's because it's just a whole lot of extra support and issues and drama.
And it's a pretty small base,
Correct.
customer base too.
So will everyone offer this service? I don't know. But in the end, there's a lot to unpack. But what's fascinating about the timing is if the government calls an election, they can't do this deal. They have to wait until the election's done because as soon as the government goes into caretaker mode, they can't sign off on a deal like this. So I think
it's not if, it's when.
I think they prodded this story out there because they want to try and get the deal signed.
Right.
I want to get it done.
So get put the blowtorch on
Yeah,
Amazon.
get it done.
Yeah, right.
So
you know what?
it'll be fascinating.
The election. I think if it wasn't for the cyclone in Brisbane happening right now, the election would have been called already.
No, WA election. I think they've got to get that out of the way first.
Oh, when's that?
This weekend. Yeah.
Because my sources is April 12 is probably going to be election day.
Yeah, I'll be postal voting because I'll be in America.
Oh, of course you will. Yeah. Oh, is that the day you'll be already there?
We'll be in the plane.
Okay.
We'll leave on the 11th.
Postal vote.
Couldn't give a rat's. I won't even vote. No, I will, definitely will.
Got to vote, mate.
So that's fascinating. I think that's really cool.
Absolutely.
I think it's good that we're getting progress, and it's also awesome there's not going to be Elon, hopefully.
Yeah, so it's just going to be Jeff Bezos, another billionaire.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Billionaire.
But he's less evil.
Is he? All right, what are you saying?
Elon's evil.
You reckon?
He's a weirdo,
Really?
and he's
evil.
Strange.
Big call.
Send this clip to him, someone.
He's copping a bit of stick about his so-called Nazi salute, which he
that's
denies
a long
was
time
a Nazi
ago. He's
salute.
pretty much moved on.
No,
from
but
that,
haven't you seen the ads? Like
they're fake.
The swastikas they're calling
fake.
Tesla.
They're just.
But it's actually affecting sales of
good.
Teslas.
It should. The blokes are Fruit Loop. Two blokes talking Fruit Loops.
Everything about tech you never wanted to know. This is Two Blokes Talking Tech.
Now, Now, I have talked about this on the Tech Guide podcast, but I haven't discussed it with another tech expert. So, do you know one I can talk to? Oh, no, here you are, right here.
It's very funny.
Alexa Plus.
We skipped a topic. Fair enough. Good as gold.
Oh, sorry. We're talking about...
Wow.
Well, let's get back to that. We'll come back to that one.
Yeah,
we'll come back to that one. But I know this. I know you wrote that. I wrote these two. Alexa has a little bump in there, an improvement in its intelligence.
Oh, shush. Alexa, stop.
Yeah, I know.
Stop saying the A word.
Happened to me as well during my podcast.
Oh,
I had
really?
to stop a couple of times. Anyway, they've added generative AI. So basically, it's Alexa on steroids.
Yeah.
With like other AI models, more conversational, so you can talk to it like a person. But what I think is impressive here is that the AI models we've seen require you to have quite an expensive device to access it. So like, an iPhone, proper iPhone, Samsung, expensive flagship models. So it's going to be interesting to see the Echo models that this works on, whether it's a speaker
how far
that costs
back
you
it goes.
whether you need to buy a new one, whether you can just upgrade your existing one. How that's going. I know it's going to be It's going to be sort of more cloud-based than device-based, I imagine. But some of the things it can do really impressive. One that I'll mention is the agentic abilities. Did you hear about this? It's like agentic, they call it, agent abilities. Where the example I gave was you need to get something repaired. So it's your washing machine, and it can go out, look for repairers, confirm them, organise the time, and then just let you know.
Oh, I find that hard to believe.
Well, do you remember years ago the Google model? Remember ringing
exactly.
up the restaurant? So is that what we're talking about here? Like the agentic abilities? And by the way,
pretty cool if it happens.
By the way, I wrote in my story that it's going to be released, of course, in the US first, US English, and I said, and coming to Australia and New Zealand in the coming months. I got a little phone call to say, can you change that? Because to me, that's reading between the lines. It's going to be next year.
It's going to be a way off, yeah.
Yeah. So,
but here's the thing that I think the reason I wanted to mention this is because this is going to change the game for those smart speakers.
Yeah.
Because right now they're dumb speakers that follow commands, right? In today's world, the fact that I can ask it to do something is great. Or we ask it to turn a timer on, But the ability to have essentially a two-way conversation like you can have with ChatGPT is going to change the game. This is going to bring AI into households. Now, America is a much bigger country for Alexa than Australia is, so it's going to have a huge impact there. Really, there's two things I take out of this is, where the hell's Google? Where are they? I feel like they've walked.
Gemini.
I feel like they've walked away from their Google Assistants. Yeah. Gemini is a separate app to Google Assistant. They're separate things. Once again, Google has created this mess of products that make no sense.
All different silos.
Can we just have one set of assistants? It's the Google Assistant powered by Gemini or whatever. And then you say to yourself, how far behind is Siri? How far behind is Siri?
Despite the fact that Apple Intelligence is there now. But
it doesn't change the fact that you can't have a relatively natural conversation with it yet.
But doesn't Siri now go out to ChatGPT as well now?
Yes, but you can't have a back and forth conversation. Okay. Have you tried having a back and forth conversation with ChatGPT?
Yeah.
It is unbelievable.
Yeah, it's not bad.
You can interrupt it.
Yeah.
Have you done that?
No. I haven't.
Mate, it's wild.
It's rude to interrupt, but I've never interrupted
but
it.
In the sense of, trying to... get assistance on something.
Yeah.
Oh, this is working. What connection failed? What are you talking about, bro? Brian. We call my ChatGPT Brian.
Brian.
Yeah. Oh, connection failed. Yeah, good. Cheers. It's good AI. It would have been a great demo.
We believe you, mate.
You believe me?
But I think...
Mate, it's unbelievable. It's worth trying. And that is going to be a game changer. So in 5 years from now, we're just going to have these random conversations with the person that's not really in your house. It's going to be like the movie She, where you could just have this thing in your ear and it's just a conversation.
Be talking all the time.
Yeah.
And I do like, there was one other example where it's not waiting for you to ask it. It'll tell you things as well.
Yeah.
So it might say... It knows that you got to go to work and where you work. It knows all that. It knows where you work, how you pay, all the stuff about you, and it'll pipe up when it might say, look, you might need to leave earlier today. There's traffic, or little things like that.
It's very cool.
And it'll remember, your kids are gluten and celiacs and stuff. It'll know all the members of your family. You can tell it who has what, and it'll remember that when you're asking
Yes.
for restaurant recommendations. Here's a good one though for students. You can actually, there's a browser now. You can upload information. So say you want to upload your study materials, and
just
it'll
have a chat
test
about
you. It'll give you a quiz.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's a really good
actually
way.
really got a idea to
Good way of
use
studying,
to use
yeah.
ChatGPT as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
It's going to be subscription. Like, there's no doubt
Wow.
it's going to be a pay. Like,
Yeah,
Alexa is essentially free now, right?
Yeah.
I have no doubt this is
So
going to
you
be.
don't
This will
reckon-
be like included with Prime or something.
Yeah,
Like a Prime will go up in
So
price.
you don't reckon it's sort of you buy the speaker and it'll be added on, or
I think it'll be backwards compatible with a lot of speakers,
yeah, right.
and I think it'll
And
be a
because
subscription.
because it's cloud based. It's not because it's not on device like phones.
That's right.
You'll be able to do that, eh? So there'll be a little bit
think
more
so,
backwards
yeah.
compatibility.
Maybe there will need to be new devices for certain levels of it, but I
Yeah,
do
I
think
reckon.
it'll be a subscription.
Okay.
I think it'll be they'll
So-
up the price of
so
Prime and they'll
Prime
put
will
it in
go
there
up
or something
$1
like that. Yeah.
or something a month.
They put Prime up $1. They make heaps of money if they can justify it by saying we're giving you this. Then albeit.
So it comes with Alexa Plus.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd pay for that.
Before we go, R.I.P. Skype. This podcast was recorded over
Yeah,
Skype many a
true,
time
true
back in the
that.
day.
Yeah, true that.
And you know, Skype was the OG for video calling. It wasn't the first, but it was certainly the biggest in the early days. eBay bought it for like $2 billion at one point in 2005.
Yeah.
Microsoft then bought it in
Microsoft,
2011 for $8.5 billion US.
Doing
Zoom
very
won the
well.
COVID. Like we all know,
Yeah.
Zoom won COVID. Microsoft fleshed back real quick with Teams.
Yeah.
And Teams is essentially where they need to put their focus. And
So
they've gone,
is
you know
that
what?
why they're going to go?
Yeah.
Yeah, Skype.
We're putting all our effort into Teams. We're putting all Skype features into Teams.
Yeah.
Everyone, you got to download Teams now, which I hate.
Not a
It's
fan.
one of the
yeah,
worst
me neither.
apps.
I'm not a fan. If there was one, if they said to me, which one don't you want to use, I would say Teams.
Yep,
Are you agree with me?
100%.
Yeah.
Do you want to meet on Google Meet, Skype,
Yeah,
Skype, WebEx, Zoom, or Teams?
Yeah.
First choice would be Zoom, I think.
Yeah.
Second choice would be WebEx. It's
WebEx
pretty
is pretty good,
pretty
yeah,
reliable.
yep.
I would have said Google Meet, then Skype, and then Teams.
Wow.
Microsoft in fourth and fifth places.
So I'm going to have to change how I dial into Sky News every Saturday too. I'm through Skype.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they got Zoom, so you're fine.
In May.
They
It'll
use
be
Zoom.
May. Is it May?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I've got a little while to
You'll be
get
okay.
adjusted, mate.
You'll be okay.
Wow.
All right, episode 673 and into our 15th year of podcasting.
Yeah. Well into a week into our 15th year.
A week and a half, you know.
Yeah.
Give or take.
Feels longer. That's what she said. Oi,
Hey!
hey!
Did they say that in The Office UK?
I don't know.
Because that is a weekly joke in The Office US. Michael,
I think so. Yeah.
Michael the boss.
Yeah. I think it's worth going back to look at The Office, the original Office, the UK version.
It's horrible.
Oh, you're kidding.
You've got to watch the entire US.
I haven't, but I think my taste and my taste in comedy is more in line with the UK version of The Office. I've watched a few Office episodes.
You've got to
the
watch
US
a couple of
version.
seasons to get fully engrossed.
Okay.
See you, mate.
See you, buddy.
This is Two Blokes Talking Tech with Trevor Long and Stephen Fennick.